The impact of Unreal franchise on the gaming industry is immeasurable. Throughout its lifespan, the franchise sold over 20 million copies and won 3 Guinness World Records. However, in 2023, the franchise was shut down, with the CEO of Epic Games declaring that the company has no plans to return to it. So what went wrong? How did Unreal evolve from a cherished treasure for millions of gamers and a pioneer in multiplayer shooters into industry's most regrettable tragedy? And most importantly, will we ever witness the return of Unreal Tournament? Today, on The Games Guru. In the year 1991, a mechanical engineering student from the University of Maryland named Tim Sweeney embarked on a business venture right from his parents' basement in nearby town Potomac. He established a company known as Potomac Computer Systems. Initially, Sweeney envisioned the company as a computer consulting firm. However, the unexpected success of his game, ZZT, led him to pivot the company's focus towards game development. A year later, in 1992, Sweeney rebranded the company as Epic Mega Games. This was a strategic move to give the impression of a large corporation, despite him being the sole employee at the time. That same year, he collaborated with Mark Rhine, the former business manager at ID Software, who has held the position of vice president at Epic Games ever since. Following this, Epic Mega Games began to grow rapidly. In no time, they had a team of over 30 employees developing video games and also serving as a publisher for smaller studios, such as Digital Extremes, today's developer of Warframe. This collaboration eventually led Digital Extremes becoming a co-developer of the Unreal franchise. Despite their string of successes, Epic Mega Games aspired to create bigger games, and this ambition prompted them to create their own 3D engine. At the time, first-person shooters were the most popular genre in the video game industry. Given that most of Epic's previous games were action-oriented, it seemed like a logical decision to make Unreal a first-person shooter. Sweeney had ambitions of creating a large-scale game, but he knew that a direct confrontation with the reigning FPS kings would likely result in failure. Then, Epic Mega Games chose to concentrate on the cinematic aspects of the game rather than on the gameplay itself. To achieve this, Epic developed an engine capable of handling dynamic lights and shadows, accurately calculating physics for various objects and supporting 256-bit textures, which resulted in the most stunning graphics of its time. However, optimizing the engine to perform well on an average personal computer proved to be a challenge for Epic. They presented the game to Intel, who were impressed by its technical capabilities and shared early access to their upcoming MMX technology, which helped to significantly improve CPU performance. With the aid of this technology, Epic Mega Games was able to fully commit to the development of the game, and upon its release in May 1998, Unreal shook the industry to its core. The game lived up to its name, offering an unreal beauty. Its dynamic water, light sources, shadows, sky, environment, and exquisite art design, combined with excellent performance, captivated thousands of players. The game's beauty was so striking that a plain screenshot from it was placed on the cover of Next Generation magazine. Despite some issues with game design and online mode, Unreal was a resounding success. It sold an impressive 1 million copies, received an average rating of 90%, and was nominated for 2 video game awards. It later received an expansion DLC Return to Nepali, and became a basis of 2 novels titled Hard Crash and The Prophet's Power. Unreal also holds a Guinness World Record as the first game to be developed on Unreal Engine, which today counts thousands of titles. Unreal quickly ascended to legendary status in the gaming industry, earning top ratings from esteemed publications. However, it wasn't without its flaws. The multiplayer mode, which was often laggy, was a common complaint among gamers and critics. This issue annoyed many developers at Epic Mega Games, prompting them to develop an expansion pack just months after Unreal's release. The expansion aimed to improve the network code and introduce additional maps and play modes. However, Epic encountered organizational challenges early on. Unreal's co-developer, Digital Extremes, was based in Ontario, Canada, making effective development challenging. To address this, Tim Sweeney decided to relocate both studios into a new office in Raleigh, North Carolina. In the process, he dropped Mega from the company name, rebranding as Epic Games. He stated that they no longer wished to give the impression of being a large company, a sentiment that had originally inspired the name when it was a one-man team. The work on the expansion pack began in September 1998, and the content quickly grew up. In no time, the developers realized they had enough content for a full game, and during a meeting with publisher GT Interactive, it was decided that the multiplayer expansion pack would become a standalone game named Unreal Tournament Edition, which was later shortened to just Unreal Tournament. The development of Unreal Tournament introduced many new developers and technologies to Epic Games. For instance, in that period, they hired the legendary game designer Cliff Bleszinski and the creator of uBrowser mod, who had developed the interface for the game. Unreal Tournament was released in November 1999 on Windows and Linux and was later ported to classic Mac OS, PlayStation 2, and Dreamcast. Despite the imminent release of strong competitor Quake 3, Unreal Tournament managed to hold its ground. While Quake was more geared towards the professional scene, where personal skill was paramount, Tournament aimed to entertain the player, offering a variety of mods, maps, and mutators, and offering a gameplay where even noob could score a few frags. Critics and gamers had various criticisms of UT. Some disliked the music, others found the balancing to be slightly off, but everyone agreed on the aspects they enjoyed in Unreal Tournament. The near-perfect technical execution, unique level and weapon design, interesting mods and features such as power-ups, and the nuke launcher, which made the game highly replayable, and an impressive AI that could pose a significant challenge even to professional gamers. Gamers also hailed the mutators, such as Fatboy or Instagibbs, which could bring a unique and unforgettable experience into every match. In a later interview, journalists asked Tim Sweeney how his team managed to create such a variety of maps and mods. He honestly admitted that he had instructed his team to include as much diverse content in the game as possible, without adhering to any specific design to justify the $20 price tag for the disc. Unreal Tournament is undeniably a legendary game. Its dedicated community continues to create memes and support custom servers worldwide. Despite initially falling behind Quake 3 in sales, Unreal Tournament won in the long run, selling over 2 million copies. It received an average rating of 94% and was nominated for over 20 video game awards, winning 10, which is a massive success for any game. It also was one of the biggest esports disciplines of its time, and many critics and gamers alike unanimously agree that Unreal Tournament 1999 is a must-play game. The overwhelming success of Unreal Tournament, particularly its mods, not only catapulted Epic Games to fame, but also drew significant attention to their game engine from other developers. Epic Games began licensing their engine to other studios on a royalty-based model, with Deus Ex being one of the first successful games made on Unreal Engine. Unreal Tournament 2003, which launched in September 2002, was the first game developed on the newly updated Unreal Engine 2, and served as a direct sequel to the previous installment. It was the most technologically advanced video game of its era, boasting next-generation graphics, realistic physics, and exceptional sound design. The game also introduced several new game mods, including the now iconic Bombing Run, added dozens of new maps, and enhanced community modding capabilities. However, despite these additions, it struggled to outshine its predecessor, and the game managed to sell just under 2 million copies over the next 4 years, even though it had an average rating of 88%. When the original Unreal Tournament was ported for PlayStation 2, it was met with a disappointing 50% rating. Critics and players alike found numerous issues. but the consensus was that playing a first-person shooter on a DualShock was really uncomfortable. Around the same time, Microsoft struck a deal with Epic Games to launch the next version of the Unreal Tournament franchise on their Xbox platform. Epic Games was intrigued by this proposition, largely due to the unique Xbox Live service that connected millions of players worldwide. Initially, Epic Games intended to simply port Unreal Tournament 2003, supporting cross-platform multiplayer and user-made content. However, due to the platform's technical constraints, this proved unfeasible. As a result, they opted to create a standalone game, Unreal Championship. Originally, Unreal Championship was envisioned as a game similar to Battlefield, accommodating up to 64 players on a single large map with drivable vehicles. However, this concept was later abandoned as the current version of Unreal Engine was not ready for these tasks, and such innovations would divert the developers' attention from things that truly mattered. Consequently, Unreal Championship became an Xbox version of Unreal Tournament 2003, featuring exclusive maps, weapons, characters, and storyline. It was launched a few days prior to UT 2003 in November 2002 and garnered an average rating of 86%. Critics and gamers alike praised Epic Games for the significant effort they put into balancing gameplay and designing levels to make the game easily playable on an Xbox controller. However, it was not perfect, as there were few first-person shooters released on consoles in 2002, and many issues were still in uncharted territory. The total number of copies sold was never officially announced, but is estimated to be around 1 million. Unreal Championship also holds a Guinness World Record as the first console game to receive a downloadable patch. Right after the launch of the original Unreal in 1998, NVIDIA's marketing manager hinted at the sequel. However, the actual development only commenced in 2001. The game was developed by Legend Entertainment, with minimal support from Epic Games, and it ended up being quite controversial. Originally, the game was designed to be single-player focused with innovative multiplayer features, including open-world maps and drivable vehicles, and was advertised as an adventure game rather than a casual shooter. However, most of these innovations were eventually cut from the final version of the game, which, according to one of the interviews, reduced the game's content by nearly 50%. Unreal 2 was launched in February 2003 and was met with harsh criticism from both critics and players. Despite its impressive graphics and lively gameplay, Unreal 2 had virtually no replay value, and the lack of multiplayer was a source of frustration for many players. However, the game's lore was perhaps the most critical issue. Although the plot was decent, it had little connection to the original Unreal, with most elements being entirely unrelated to its predecessor. In conclusion, Unreal 2 was a decent game, but it should not have been marketed as a sequel to Unreal. The game received an average rating of just 65%, with slightly over 200,000 copies sold worldwide. Epic Games had long been attempting to incorporate drivable vehicles and expansive maps into their games, and were deeply disappointed when they couldn't achieve this in UT 2003. As a result, they promptly began enhancing the Unreal Engine to accommodate vehicular physics. By 2003, the modifications were complete, the Unreal Engine was upgraded to version 2.5, and development could finally begin. However, Epic Games was already behind schedule, as they planned to initiate the development of Unreal Tournament 3 in the beginning of 2005. Therefore, they enlisted the help of two additional studios, Psyonix, best known for Rocket League, and Streamline Studios, co-developer of Death Stranding and Gears of War. Epic Games aimed to make UT 2004 backwards compatible with UT 2003, but significant changes in the game engine and netcode to support drivable vehicles rendered this impossible. The developers at Epic Games recognized that despite the abundance of content, UT 2004 was not significantly different from its predecessor. They feared repeating the same mistake that led to UT 2003's sales failure due to its minimal upgrade from the original Unreal Tournament. Consequently, they decided to offer a $10 discount to all owners of Unreal Tournament 2003, amounting to a 50% from the original price. However, this still seemed insufficient, and a few months before the game's release, Epic Games published a free demo version of UT 2004 featuring their innovative Onslaught mode. The demo version took the internet by storm, rapidly becoming the most downloaded demo version of its time. And when Unreal Tournament 2004 was launched in March 2004, it revolutionized the gaming industry. The impeccable demo version attracted many new players, and the 50% discount encouraged old fans to make the purchase. The game was thrilling and engaging, introducing rare technologies, improved community and demo recording support, and expanded opportunities for mod developers and esports organizers. Epic Games had a clear understanding of what players wanted, and their near-perfect execution combined with a brilliant marketing strategy resulted in an average rating of 96%, surpassing the original Unreal Tournament. The game sold over 10 million copies worldwide, was nominated for and won 4 video game awards, and is often regarded as one of the best video games of 2004, second only to Half-Life 2. In the same 2004, Epic Games organized the first Make Something Unreal contest. This contest rewarded the creators of the top modifications with cash prizes, computer hardware, and ultimately a license for the commercial use of the Unreal Engine. The first contest was won by Tripwire Interactive with their project, Red Orchestra. The subsequent game in the franchise was intended to be Unreal Tournament 2005, which was envisioned to feature a comprehensive storyline, which, combined with the series' tournament-style single-player mode, would create a sports drama. Epic Games had numerous other minor details and enhancements in mind, but their ambitions proved to be overwhelming. Consequently, they decided to divide UT 2005 into 2 distinct games, Unreal Tournament 3 and Unreal Championship 2, which came out in 2005, exclusively for Xbox. Unreal Championship 2, The Liandry Conflict, was promoted as a direct sequel to the first Unreal Championship game, despite having minimal connections through lore. However, this didn't pose a problem, as the Liandry Conflict emerged as one of the most influential multiplayer games in the history of modern video gaming. Unreal Championship 2 offered players the flexibility to switch between first and third-person modes, lock the opponent at the front of the screen, an enhanced power-up system, melee weapons like swords and spears, and a character weight system that influenced the character's movement, speed, and health. These decisions were influenced by the series' new publisher, Midway Games, the creator of Mortal Kombat, who aimed to infuse some fighting spirit into the stagnant genre of arena shooters. The impact of these decisions is evident in popular modern video games like Overwatch and The Finals. Unreal Championship 2 was the first game in the franchise to be developed without Digital Extremes, who had chosen to part ways with Epic Games and work on their own projects. Nonetheless, even without their assistance, Epic Games did an excellent job on the game, merging enjoyable and competitive gameplay for both casual and hardcore gamers. Moreover, their latest version of the Unreal Engine, dubbed as 2X, and specifically designed for this game, was capable of rendering the industry's most stunning graphics despite the significantly slower CPUs of Xbox consoles. Unreal Championship 2 was launched in April 2005 and became the first console game to support community modding. It received an average rating of 90% and sold over 4 million copies. Regrettably, the Windows port for this game was cancelled, and it also was the last successful video game in the franchise. Unreal Tournament 3, which was released in November 2007, turned out to be a complete disaster. Epic Games had been building up the hype for the game, proclaiming it to be their most ambitious project to date. The developers were drawing inspiration from all previous UT games to create the best experience possible. Even though some gameplay changes left some of the old fans disappointed, the public was in unanimous agreement that Epic Games had generally nailed the gameplay. However, despite being developed with sheer passion and being highly entertaining, Unreal Tournament 3 was a disaster, largely due to the new Unreal Engine 3, which the game was showcasing. The Windows-dedicated server had very poor server admin tools, which prevented custom servers from running in a playable condition. Moreover, the Linux-dedicated server wasn't launched until a month after the official release, leaving most players without a multiplayer mode in a multiplayer-focused game. During this period, most gamers only had access to the story mode, which was awkward, long, boring, and completely replaced the universally loved tournament system. Even when the multiplayer mode was finally fixed, gamers encountered another significant issue with the game. To simplify the creation and installation of community mods on consoles, Epic Games decided to move the Unreal script to the native code, but this only made modding considerably more difficult. Performance optimization for PC posed another significant hurdle. UT3 boasted remarkable animations and graphics that remain impressive to this day. However, the average GPUs at the time only had a memory capacity of 512 megabytes, which deterred some of the old fans from even trying the game. Such a disastrous launch was entirely unintentional, but it completely ruined the game's sales, which amounted to only 1 million copies within a year, despite receiving a decent rating of 86% and being featured in the Edge magazine article, 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die. The unfortunate failure of Epic's fantastic game discouraged Epic Games from continuing with the series. Even though Tim Sweeney cherished his favorite franchise, he was also aware of his company's challenging situation, which at the time had 1,000 employees. Following the success of Gears of War 2 and Unreal Engine 3, the company's management decided to take a break from the Unreal franchise and focus on their most successful products. The subsequent Unreal Tournament game was announced 7 years later in the late 2013, marking a complete reboot of the tournament franchise and showcasing the new Unreal Engine 4. A team of 20 dedicated Unreal developers was assigned to this project, which was planned to be released for free, without microtransactions, with a primary focus on mod distribution. This allowed fans to assist Epic Games in developing the game, and even earn some money from it. Regrettably, the chosen business model significantly slowed down the development process, with the final patch, released in June 2017, being only the 7th. In a Christmas interview in 2018, Tim Sweeney candidly admitted that the development had been cancelled and that the studio has no plans to revisit the franchise, as the development of Fortnite and Unreal Engine had become their daily task. The game's servers were shut down in January 2023, rendering it completely inaccessible, with other Unreal games removed from stores shortly thereafter. Unreal Engine 5 was launched in May 2021, becoming the first version of Unreal Engine to entirely ignore the Unreal video game series. While many attribute the demise of the series to the death of arena shooters, as clearly demonstrated by the failure of Lawbreakers, a game by Cliff Bleszinski, the original UT designer, and the struggle of Quake Champions, former competitor of the series, I personally believe that the death of Unreal Tournament can be solely attributed to the greed of the Epic Games. Indeed, it's difficult to blame a multi-billion-dollar company for focusing on more profitable products, but the way Epic Games handled this situation is truly despicable. For instance, id Software still holds the annual QuakeCon, despite Quake Champions having at most 500 players online, whereas Epic Games shut down all the servers and removed all the franchise's games from every online distribution store, including their own Epic Games Store, without any announcement or explanation. It pains me to witness the disgraceful demise of the Unreal franchise, as Unreal Tournament was one of the first video games I ever played. And I'm sure I'm not alone, as every time I download any version of UT, whether it's 99, 2004, or 3, I can always find a few custom servers online, with a handful of nostalgic boomers like myself, enjoying nostalgia under the influence of heavy drugs. If you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to check out my previous documentary about Battlefield, which similarly covers the birth, struggle, and demise of the franchise. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for new documentaries every Thursday. I am the Games Guru. Love to all. Bye-bye.